What Shakespeare used to say, to be or not to be is the question. So what Shakespeare said. So it's something like our karma and akarma. So a few glimpses from the scriptures I am trying to present. And I don't know, I may be repeating what earlier speakers have said, because subject is same, approach may be slightly different, that's all. And I generally remember a speaker said in one of the meetings, person who speaks first, very easy for him to say, others will speak about it. And the person who speaks last, easier to say, all what I want to say has been said. So I am perhaps in that position today. We have heard yesterday and today very brilliant presentations on this subject. I will try to make what little contribution I can make. And if that is going to be useful to you, well, all credit will go to Sadguru and Swamiji. So I start with the prayer which all of us are familiar. We do it here. There is one thing I am saying, Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Sreekala Salagaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sree Gurave Namaha. Now we go to the next one. Pranams to Sadguru, pranams to Swamiji. Warm greetings to all scholars and members of the audience and all co-devotees of Sri Peetham. Thanks for the opportunity to share my thoughts. Important topic of immense contemporary relevance. This is what is the problem today. Earlier we did not have, maybe 100 years back, there is nothing, no problem like that. Elders were there, gurus were there, implicit obedience to what they said. But today it is not so. Maybe, I don't say it is wrong. Questioning is good, but then questioning should not be to the extent of overpowering by mere logic, because there is something beyond logic also. There are certain things logic cannot explain. So that comes by experience and by perhaps inspirational institution. Next one. The word Karya, I understand like this. Karaniyam yad adava kartum yogyam yad. What should be done, obligation, and what is fit to be done. There is an obligation I may not do, but what is fit I may not be obliged to do. So both are there. Obligation is there, that is what is karaniyam, and what is fit to be done, kartum yogyam. And the opposite will be akaraniyam and also na kartum yogyam. Or in legal language they say injunctions and prohibition. Our morning Dr. Tyagarajan was saying, what is prescription and what is proscription. So do's and don'ts generally. Next. This sloga has been repeatedly quoted, but it is worth quoting any number of times. Tasmat shastram pramanam de karya garya vyavastitau. Jnatva shastra videyanoktam karma kartum iha arhasi. That is the anchoring point here. Now, shastram. So therefore, let the scriptures be your authority in deciding what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. And having known what is said in the ordinance of the scriptures, you should act. Next. Now, what is the meaning of Shastra? In English, generally they translate as science. Shastra means science. Sanskrit, we don't do that. Shastra means Shasanad, Trananad, Shastram. Shasana means an instruction. The instruction can be either do or don't do. So it can be an order or a prohibition, injunction or prohibition. So Vedas are the base for that. Because the entire Vedic literature can be divided into two. What is called Vidhi, what should be done, and other is called Nisheda, or what should not be done. So we can take like this, that what is karma or dharma, or what is akarma or adharma. So these are eternal, not today or yesterday or tomorrow, eternal and for all, and in all places and all times. That's the beauty of that. It is not temporary, it is not for a period, it is not for a group of people. This is common for all time, all people, all places, therefore it remains eternal. That is what the Vedic injunction is. Next one. There's a convocation address in the Taittiriya Upanishad. This gives this. The teacher, after completion of all the courses, tells the students, something like our convocation address, Vedamanuchyacharyo Ande Vasana Manishasti Satyam Vada Dharmam Chata. Then Madhadevo Bhava, Pitradevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Achiti Devo Bhava. Up to that is okay. Now comes what is the do's and don'ts. Yani Anavadyani Karmani Thanitvayo Vasyani No Itarani. Actually that No Itarani appears to be a superfluous thing. But it's emphasized. Yani Anavadyani Karmani, what is not condemnable, don't do that. Or what is acceptable only you do. That is enough. No Itarani, nothing more. That is, it includes both. And again, Yanyasmagam Sucharitani Thanitvayo Vasyani No Itarani. Because Gurus are models for us. Whatever they do, that's why earlier also it was quoted, the leader is a model, and Lord Himself shows that in the Gita. Next one. Manusmriti says this, Yenasya Pidaro Yadaha, Yenayada Pidamaha, Tenayayad Sadam Margam. It's adjective there, not any Margam. Because they are seniors to me, superiors to me, whatever they do, I can't copy that. Provided they are good, Satam Margam. This is described today in our official language as precedent or model context. What is the precedent? Precedent can also be only a good precedent. A wrong thing can never be quoted as a precedent. That's why you go, when there are no rules or procedures are not very clear, what we do? What was the way in which my senior has dealt with in similar case? We take that. Provided it is good. Wrong precedent we can't. Somebody does something wrong, I can't quote that and do it. He has done it, therefore I am doing. We can't do. That's why Yena Asya Pitaro Yadaha Yena Yada Pitamaha. It gives that line. Tene Ayad provided Sadam Margam. Then what will happen? You will not get into any trouble. This is Manusmriti. Next. Bhagavad Gita speaks about today's topic in 3 chapters at least. There are others. They are strewn all over, but chapter 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 16, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, and chapter 17, Shraddhatra Vibhaga Yoga. You find both there. Positive and the negative vices. Some examples I will show. Next one. 17, Sloka chapter 4. Lord says you must understand the nature of all 3 obligatory action, wrong action and no action. Now this is a very interesting point. Inaction is sometimes used in translation. Inaction is not correct. Because when it comes to obligatory action, inaction will run counter it. Inaction is not the word to be used. No action. Similarly, it may appear to be same, inaction and no action. No. Inaction and no action are different. No action is not taking any action. Inaction is remaining neutral. I will give the example next. That's why here, no, previous one, sir. You must understand the nature of all 3, obligatory, wrong and no action. The truth about this is profound and difficult to understand. Already has been mentioned here. The Karmano Gadihi Gahana. Very, very difficult. You should understand all the 3. Karmanaha, Bodhavyam, Bodhavyam Vikarmanaha, Akarmanasya Bodhavyam. There are 3 types. Not merely action and no action. There is something called action and inaction. Something called no action also. Next. Speaking about the philosophy of action, the Lord says that even sages are perplexed as to what to do. What is wrong action and what is no action or not inaction. Bhagavad gives a commentary on that. Sarvatra cha prasastam bodhavyam cha kartavyam evacha. Na nisprayojanam bodhavyam ityuchyate. Now these commentaries themselves are great, but they require sub-commentaries to understand. There are certain nuances in these things. Next one. Karma refers to what scriptures prescribed as auspicious. Vidhi or obligation. You can't escape from there. Then it will result in karma lopa. Karma lopa means it will bring you bad results. Vikarma is harmful. That is nisheda, avoidance. Details are explained in detail in chapters 16 and 17 of the Gita. We quote Gita always because Bhagavad Pada says in the introduction of his Gita Vashya, Idam Gita Shastram Sakala Vedanta Shastra Sangraha Bhudam. There is no need for you to read any other book. Read only Gita. Idam Gita Shastram. The word Shastra is there. Sakala Vedanta Shastra Sangraha Bhudam. But he adds one small condition there. Durvignaya Artham. It is not easy to understand also. It requires somebody to tell you. Commentaries are there, gurus are there. So akarma is, as I said, inaction, not the answer, which will run counter to obligatory duty. It is therefore state of no action. How to understand that? It is similar to the null point in magnetic field. You will see that physics and philosophy are very close in human matters because both deal with matter and spirit only. You got the magnetic field, magnetometer is there. At some point of the placement of that, you will find a positive deflection of the needle. In another point, you find a negative reflection. Some point, there is a null point. This is actually not inaction, no action. Action is there in either way. This is called no action. That's what I wanted to give as an example. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand the difference between inaction and no action. Appear to be same, they are not same. Inaction will create problem. No action will not create problem. So, question detachment. There's an attachment but detachment. That is the difference between inaction and no action. Next. The following sloka in the Vishnu Purana would also attempt like this. Tat karma yenna bandhaya savidya ya vimuktaye. What is called karma? That karma will bind. Karmana badhyade jantuhu is the rule. So, that is karma which will bind you. Tat karma yet na bandhaya. That should be the action. These are the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Madhusudana Saraswati in his Gudartha Deepika, commentary on Bhagavad Gita, summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita in 3 sentences. Tatradu pradame kande karma tatyagavartmana tumpadartho vishuddhatma swabhapati nirupyate. Tattvamasi Samaveda Mahavakya, which is interpreting like that. Bhagavad Gita is actually expansion, the explanation of Tatu Tvamasi. How? First 6 chapters deals with Tvam Padartha, second 6 deal with Tat Padartha, and the third one the non-difference or abheda between Tatu and Tvam. Tatradu Bhagavad Gitayam Pratame Kande. He likens Bhagavad Gita to Vedas. Here we call as yoga. Kanda is generally said in Vedas only. Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Jnana Kanda. So, Tatradu Bhagavad Gitayam Pratame Kande Karma Tatyagavartmana, that is Karma Yoga. Karma Tatyagavartmana Tvampadartho Vishuddhatma Swabhapati Nirupyate. Dvidiyedu Bhagavat Bhakti Nishta Varnanavatmana Tatpadartho Avadaryade. Tridiyedu Tayoho Aikyam Vakyartho Varnyate Sputam. Bhagavad Gita commentary is over with this 3 lines. Of course he comments, but that is the essence, or rather the quintessence of what is there in the Bhagavad Gita. So that is how it starts. And here Vishnu Purana supports this by Tat Karma Yenna Bandhaya. That is action which will not bind you. That means what? Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga, one has to do the job. If you don't do what is given to you as the classified citizen or a person. Chadurvarnya Maya system sloka generally people interpret wrongly, many of them, as caste. There is nothing called caste. Earlier, Sir was giving about Shankara, I have no jadi beda. There is nothing called caste. Class is there. One should not confuse caste and class. There are 4 classes only. You can see Vajra Suchika Upanishad, which gives this. Brahmana Brahmana, Brahmana Kshatriya, Brahmana Vaishya, Brahmana Sudra. Like that all the 3. And again there is a misconception about the word Sudra. They don't understand the meaning. And they say it is a derogatory reference. No. Sudra means Sucham Prati Yasya Hridayaha Dravati. When somebody is in trouble, we will run to him to help. He is a Shudra. That's why I always say Nandanari is the highest Brahmin. It's not the Krishna birth. Of course, there is another argument for that, Janmana Jayate Sutraha. And also by studying of Vedas and all, they become Vipra. And by doing all these disciplines, he becomes a little more higher than that. And Brahmana becomes only by Brahmajnana. Brahmajnana or Brahmana. So that is evolution and not by birth. You can say like this, by birth it is expected they will do it. That you can say. But not to be labeled because of birth. So the point here is, Tyaktva karmabala sangam nitriduttu nirashrayaha karmani abhipravrittuvi daivakinjit karosasa. This is action in inaction and inaction in action. Earlier also that was quoted. Whoever sees action in inaction and inaction in action. It's a very complicated sloka. That's why Bhagavad Gita says Durvijnayartham. Not easy to understand Gita. The Sanskrit knowledge and how the literary translation will not help us. There is something much more than that. It's only an indicator. Having cast off attachment to the fruit of action, ever contented, depending on nothing, even though fully engaged in action, he does not do anything. This I have taken from Mada Amrita Mayanandi Trust. There's a book published by them on Gita. I have taken from there. Next one. A mundane example can be seen how action is not there in an action, or inaction is there in an action. You can see this here. A messenger delivers the communication with the addressee. It may be good news or bad news, but the messenger is not affected by it, since he is only duty. Swami Siddhayananda's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. The wise man engages in action, but with firm belief that it is in adoration of the Lord. Very much has been spread or stressed on this earlier speakers also. All we do is, that's why at the end of every ritual we say Brahmarpanam. We don't want to have any effect of that. But we should not have adverse effect of not doing also. Very interesting point. Do it, but not having the effect of that. If you don't do it, it is bad. If you do it, you will get a result of that. I don't want that, but I want to do karma also. Very, very tricky situation, but this is how it is explained. The first 6 chapters of Gita entitled Karma Yoga summarized in 2 places. Performing Vishita or Nishita karmas as adoration to God. That's called Bhakti Yoga or Karma Yoga, whatever. Yoga itself is defined in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra as Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Chittasya Vrittehe or Parinamasya Nirodha Yad Tat Yogaha Ityuchyate. In other way it can be said, all these sense organs do not function at all. That's why they say, Manasa Shrunodi, Manasa Pashyati. It's the mind that matters. If all these sense organs are functioning, a dead person also should be able to see, or should be able to hear. He has got eyes. But that person's eyes, when fitted on somebody else by an operation, that blind man is able to see. Or there are windows and doors. Windows can't see. Doors cannot make people come in and go. People see through the window, or people come and go out of the door. So they are only windows and doors only. So the sense organs do not function at all. This is what Patanjali says. So Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So there is stoppage of action of the mind. Mind functions. Next. I don't also have to have much material in this scholastic audience, but it is my anxiety and the blessings of Guru and Swamiji, I come and make some presentation. There may be 100 mistakes in this, but they will all pardon me for that. I am still a student, very humble student of all this. I try to complete as quick as possible. So this I covered already. Next one, sir. 16 and 17, lot of things are there, what should be done, what should not be done. I think I leave it to the audience to, not that you don't know, for further detailed study. One sloga, this is what should be the quality. Fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness, yoga, alms giving, control over senses, yajna, study of scriptures, etc., etc. This is what is Karya. Next one. Arjavam is explained by Vidyaranya. Very, very long statement. Swamiji asked me to specially speak on that. Anyway, I will just touch that. What is Arjavam? Siddhadaneshu, Srodrishu, Swajnana, Artha, Asangopanam. Straightforwardness. That is simple meaning. But this is the definition given by Vidyaranya. Next one. Previous one. Siddhadaneshu, Srodrishu. Siddhadana means a person who is interested in listening and all that. Srodrishu, listeners and all that. Swajnana Artha Sangopanam. What is the correct meaning in this is not covered. It is revealed properly. Nobody keeps reserved anything with him. He makes completely what he knows. Straightforwardness is completely translated. But a deeper meaning given by Vidyaranya is that. Sorry. So this is a bad practice. Anyway, I regret having been there in the 30 years, Swamiji. I should have come to line and be your disciple. Anyway, next one. So this is ahimsa. So ahimsa is a very interesting word. Ahimsa doesn't mean non-violence. Normally it's translated like that. Himsa is necessary. So I'll show you that. Now these are the plus points which are called Karya. I think most of it you know. Otherwise you can read it and find out. Next one. Now this is again the bad quality which is akarma or adharma. Next one. It deals with type of food, the austerity, worship and all that, what should be done, what should not be done, do's and don'ts, or enjoined and prohibited action. This is a collection of Shankara's commentary on Sankaracharya by Swami Kirtanandas. I have taken all these from those commentaries. Next one. The Om Tat Sat, how it is explained. What are the things to be done, what are things to be avoided. The Karya and the Akarya will come in this three simple words. Om Tat Sat. Next. Vedanta is what we talk. Vedanta doesn't mean normally not end of Vedas, because Vedas have no end at all. Ananta Veda. What you have got only a very fragment of what really is the original Vedanta. People are discovering where it is there, still there. So Vedanta means Vedasya Yadu Parama Tatparyam. That is why we find philosophical statements made at the end, we call it Vedanta. Karma Kanda we say, Upasana Kanda we say, Jnana Kanda we say. Jnana Kanda is supposed to be Vedanta. Not the end of Veda, but it is the purport of Veda. What Vedan intends. They are the very steps. There must be Sattva Shuddhi or the Chitta Shuddhi. Then there must be filling it with devotion and worship of God or Guru, both are on terms, as Shvedasatra Upanishad will say, and finally leads to the state of realizing the essential nature of oneself. So these are the three steps. So Vedanta means ultimate result of doing all these things. Next one. Now I'll stop here, except one beautiful sloga which I always quote in any meeting, whether relevant or not. This is from Pushpadanda's Shiva Mahimna Stotra, daily recited in Kedarnath temple. It will answer this also, this point also. Whatever path you are following, let it be Advaita, let it be Vishishta Advaita, let it be Veda, let it be Dvaita, doesn't matter. What is the point in doing that? Ultimately you reach the final aim of human existence. So, Adita Pandanam Tavta Mihima Vang Manasayoho Adat Vyavritya Chagidama Vidatte Sudibhavi Rujinam Vaijitriyad Riju Kudila Nana Padajusam Dranam Egogamya Tvamasi. How? Payasam Arnavaiva. So it's a prayer to Lord Shiva that whatever people follow, whatever path they follow, ultimately the target is reaching you. How? Example, all rivers are there, There some are going east, west, some are west, east, north, south and all that. Ultimately, where do they find their refuge? Ocean. So that is what it. So this is what the prayer of all systems. We have no difference at all. Advaiti never despises other systems. But they say this is for certain ideas, this is better. It is up to you to accept or not. Finally also it was mentioned what Bhagavad Gita ends like that. I have told you, idide jnanamakyadam. This is what the correct thing I have told you. But it is up to you to accept after examining thoroughly. Not simply because I say. You apply yourself. That's why the whole Gita is, all people are like Arjuna only. That's why they say, why Gita was there? It is considering the normal person, Lord has brought down all this knowledge, the guise of Arjuna. Partham Uddishya Shastra Avataranam Kritam. That is what Gita is. So, there are so many other things where also you can find the do's and don'ts and all. But Gita is considered to be, as I mentioned earlier, as Shankara says, essence of all Vedanta. I think you stay there is good enough. So from there I have taken some examples to the extent I can understand. I have made a small presentation. If there are mistakes, please pardon me and pray for my getting better. If it is correct, thanks for the Swamiji and for Sadguru. Thank you very much.